realize that we have 17 countries represented here today. 17 countries are represented. And as I said earlier, this is also the first time
that we are having this summer school in the Indian Ocean
region. Tujipigie makofi, being the first ones. As you are all aware, our government currently is taking a keen interest in the blue economy and matters of the blue economy. So it is not by default that we are having this summer school here in Kenya. We are also, next week, we'll be hosting the West Indian Ocean Marine Science Organizations Conference, again, which is also the first, this is the second time, Joe, isn't it the second time that is being hosted in Kenya, the WIOMSA conference? So, the third or second? Third. This is the third time it's being hosted in Kenya. So we are really feeling privileged that more, and next year also, Mariam, we're also having the ocean, yes, our ocean conference, which is also going to take place in Kenya. So it seems that Kenya is the destination to watch when it comes to the matters of blue economy and the ocean sciences. So mine is just again to acknowledge the hard work that was done. This summer school would not have taken place if it wasn't for the efforts of our teams, both from University of Michigan and from Technical University of Mombasa, Pwani University, and Kemfri. I wish to really thank and appreciate all of them who made us who worked behind the scenes, morning and evenings, burned the midnight oil to make it possible. Asanteni for really making sure that this summer school has taken off. The summer school will have 5 training tracks, with thematic areas mainly on small-scale fisheries, mariculture and post-harvest management, chemical and physical oceanography, climate change and physical processes, and also marine pollution, plastics, together with the data and survey design. These tracks were carefully selected to allow the early career professionals, postgraduate students, and also the undergraduate students to have a feel on the research areas that they would eventually be interested in and would like to continue with. So the tracks will be offered through interactive class, lectures, group exercises, field work as
Professor Munga has just explained, and also lab practices, lab practical exercises. The sites will be both in the North Coast and the South Coast. Allow me to also, for our visitors who are here, this is our main campus, but we also have a campus in Kwale, which is in the South Coast, and we also have a campus in Lamu. That's the northern part of the Indian Ocean. So we have campuses along this strip, and as I said, for Kilifi County, we have Pwani University, and of course in Mombasa, we have both Kemfri and Technical University of Mombasa. So the sites for this training will be both in the North Coast and the South Coast of Kenya. We would just want, first of all, to say that this meeting, as we're having this meeting, and we're following it with, again, the WIOMSA conference, it will be an opportunity for all of us to take stock of how far are we when it comes to the issues, the sciences in the Indian Ocean. And this interactive session, what we will be doing is network among ourselves, find out which areas that will be able to benefit us, and as I said, come up also with collaborative research areas that we would like to explore later on.
So on behalf of our local collaborators, that is Pwani University and Kemfree, I would like to, as TUM, I would like to welcome you all to this particular summer school, and also hope that we will have fruitful discussions. The training will have an impact to all the participants who are here, and we look forward to a very, very successful workshop so that we can actually chart our way on the blue economy and the marine sciences. Asanteni, and thank you all for coming.
Allow me to take this opportunity also to welcome my friend, my colleague, and our partner from Pwani University, Professor James Kahindi. Karibu.
Good morning, all. In the interest of time, allow me to ride on the protocols that were already laid out by Professor Peter Gishangi and the Vice Chancellor. Indeed, it gives me pleasure to join you today in this partnership that we are doing with the Technical University of Mombasa. And had I known that I will actually be called here by the VC, I would have dressed better. Thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I am really excited by this endeavor, this training that is the first ever in Eastern Africa. When I was seated there, I looked around our partners and I saw that we are basically responding to the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development that started in 2021. This is 2025, that is 4 years after, and it is only when we are waking up to start the first training. But as they say, better late than never, so I am really elated that this has come to bear fruits, and I hope that the 75 participants who will be trained on hands-on activities will be able to contribute effectively to these marine sciences, fisheries, pollution control, and all that pertains to the Indian Ocean. It is important that we take care of this ocean, because when you look around the entire world, let them not deceive you with the geography, that you have different continents and so on. The ocean is simply one. It starts in the Indian Ocean, it will go to the Pacific, and it is just one ocean. So if we don't take care of it, we have no other ocean that can be able to assist us. So it is important that we do that. Allow me to say that on behalf of the Pwani University Council, the Senate, the Management Board, the staff and students of Pwani, we are really committed to having this particular endeavor, and we are thinking of starting some ocean clubs that will basically lead to work together with the early career ocean professionals, so that we can build this interest from the time that the students come into Pwani, so that they can look forward to all these wonderful things. I do not want to take so much time except to say and to thank all the collaborators here, and in particular my big sis, the VC TUM, for bringing us together to make sure that we move together with a common goal for a common good for the common universe. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much. So today's meet up here to do this is very significant, as the previous speakers have said. So as the previous speakers have said, the ocean okay, I guess. So as I was saying, okay, thank you. So as the previous speakers have said, the ocean is really under threat. So today's focus is about the Western Indian Ocean. So this ocean serves over 65 million residents. Okay, so I was saying the Western Indian Ocean serves over 65 million coastal residents, and that is a really significant amount of people. So if it is under threat, then we have like 40% of the coral reefs are already degraded. Every year, about 12 million tons of plastic overflow and enter these oceans, yet it is a source of livelihood. It actually does carbon emission. So it is really important that we have this, and I am not in the marine field, but I'm really excited about having the first summer school to actually have or help people who are earlier on in their career doing this. So as we continue the program at this juncture, I'd like to invite Dr. Paul Orina, who is the Director General of Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, which is KEMFRI. Karibu sana Daktari. Kindly let us clap for him as he walks towards the stage. Karibu sana.
Yeah, thank you very much. I am Dr. Jacob Ochieo, standing in for Dr. Paul Orina, the Director General of KEMFRI. Allow me to ride on the protocols already observed by my predecessors. I want to take the opportunity to appreciate being at TUM. I think since my sister, Professor Laila, came in, I've never come officially to say hello. And I always say that there must be something wrong with me. But it is good that today I'm here, and it is a great privilege to be here. Thank you very much for hosting us. The Coastal and Ocean Environment Summer School is indeed a great international collaboration that is aimed at building the capacity of the young professionals on oceanographic and environmental sciences in the African continent. I want to appreciate that it began in West Africa, particularly in Ghana and Nigeria, and now it is expanding and taking root in East Africa, starting from Kenya. And we would not really take this just as something that has happened by accident, but it is because of the way capacity building in oceanographic and environmental sciences is quite important. The initiative has actually been endorsed by the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, which actually began in the year 2021 and is running through to the year 2030. And it is highlighting, when you look at the focus of this UN Decade of Ocean Science, it is highlighting its global significance and commitment to sustainable use of ocean resources. So the school, that is the summer school, has been running annually since the year 2015. I think this is quite remarkable, because if it has been running since 2015 in West Africa, and by now, when you count the number of years, it means a lot of experience has been gained. So the moment now it rolls to our country and the East African region, then it is coming with a lot of experience and lessons learned that would make it even support us in a better way. And we appreciate the fact that this particular summer school would entail both lectures, hands-on laboratory work. It would cover field trips to enable the learners and the young professionals to gain some understanding of what really is happening on the ground, and of course research projects. Now, the summer school definitely would be addressing critical marine issues, particularly when you look at the issues that affect. Yeah, it looks like. Would be addressing fundamental issues. We have the issues of pollution that are actually affecting our marine environment. We have shipping and related piracy issues. We have fisheries-related issues. The stocks, especially within the shallow inshore areas, are getting depleted, and because of that, we realize earnings are going down. And one thing I need to indicate is that I am issues that are affecting our resources from what really affect our economies and affect our societies in a significant way. So participants are going to get practical skills for lots of science that will be anchored on fieldwork, laboratory analysis, data interpretation, competition, and programming tutorials. Now, these experiences will equip the young scientists and professionals to be able to contribute effectively to sustainable ocean management and research.
One thing that is very important is to note that the importance of playing a unique management to our ocean and the associated resources, because for a long time there has been a traditional approach management of ocean resources, and there is challenges that continue to rise. So this particular kind of capacity building will enable us
address this emerging problem. So the summer school fosters said working in collaboration between Africa, Europe, and the United States, and it serves as a platform for scientific exchange, capacity building, and partnerships for advancing social science in Africa. The current event that we are actually having here, which is actually hosted by Zoom and Kemfrey, with strong support from Paris University, is a sister program in a Western Indian Ocean based in Kenya. And it's a network it also serves as the Officers Base Symposium event. I want to appreciate, I happen to be the National Organizing Committee chair for the Western Indian Ocean Marine Science Association Symposium, which is starting on 29th, and people are already coming in. So it is quite important that this event is taking place as a symposium event, and we want really to appreciate that. The event brings together 75 participants, and I wish to appreciate the University of Michigan, USA, and the Ocean Decade Capacity Development Facility that are funding this summer school. I wish to confirm Kemfrey's commitment to supporting this important school, so that as we continue going forward, Kemfrey would be able to avail the necessary facilities that would support this summer school.
Thank you very much. I wish you well as we continue.
Thank you so much, Dr. Orina, for that address. So as we move along, I think I'd like to call the next speaker who is going to give his remarks. So the next speaker is going to be Dr. Janae Collier, who is the Associate Director, University of Michigan. So kindly let us give a hearty clap. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. How are we feeling? I'm very interactive, so how are you? Feeling great? Feeling good? Wonderful. I want to see the raise of hand of applicants who applied. So raise your hand if you applied to the school, you're here. That's like all on the back. Raise your hand. Come on, let's go. Yes, 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 yes. So I can imagine that you did your research prior to applying. We've looked at your applications, and we noticed the research that you invested to understand the summer school. So for those who may have not applied and you've done a little research, there's a few things that I want to share with you all to bring in what the purpose of the school is. First is our vision. The vision for the summer schools is to address the conditions and equity issues that have historically led to the exclusion of African representation. We aim to both current and future to empower current and future generations of African scientists in the global science field. And that is the true purpose. So the summer schools are here to help advance the representation of Africans on the global science platform. That came from the ideation of Dr. Brian Arbic. And I think that is one of the things that wants to be highlighted most, is that the work that we are doing here is to bring more of the global South a part of the conversation when we talk about the ocean, when we think about the representation and conversation, because we are all a part of this, but we recognize there is exclusion happening actively, and how do we bridge that? So being here at the summer school, it is essential that we are creating those networks. As the Vice Chancellor has already addressed, 17 countries. How many of you have been to 17 countries? Raise your hand. Right. So just think, you're like with 17 countries right now. So what I want you to do is at least make connections with 10 other countries, because imagine where that can take you. Imagine where making a connection with another country can take you. Because the success of the summer school is when the school continues outside of this week. This week is to propel you to make those connections, to think about how you can have a presence on the global platform, not just this week in the school. So I know the school is going to be fun, you're going to be tired, you're going to be excited, you're going to be hot, right? Like all these emotions. But the purpose of the school is to have you all be a part of the global conversations when it comes to ocean sciences. So as you are here, the mission is for you to start to make those connections. The mission is for you to bridge those connections now. And I'll also share the mission that we want in COESing, and that is to attract, empower, and educate future international African scientists, providing a platform. This is the platform. But the platform only works when we come here with our purpose. So many of you have come here to, yes, I want to have this experience. I want to learn in my project groups. But how do you take that purpose outside of this week? Is it finding a mentor? There is an audience of experts in this room. How are you going to introduce yourself? How do you make sure that you make your mark? So as you're thinking about that, how does this platform propel you? And then next is for promoting African science, improvement of African and African scientific global ties. We want the opportunities to foster collaboration, innovation, and knowledge exchange within the community of Africa, particularly in the fields of oceanic sciences and environmental sciences.
So the purpose that we are here today is for you to make those connections. The only word I want you to know after today is connection, okay? Like everyone's talking. Connection, connection, connection. But I want you to take that connection into action. There are how many countries here? How many? Now come on. You all have 17 countries. How many countries are you going to meet before you leave? Oh, some people said 16, 17. That's not bad. I said 10. Go ahead, overachievers. Right. So I want you all to think about that. Meet new countries. Meet people.
Figure out what their issues are. See how you can collaborate. The reason that this school is successful, it wasn't because of the University of Michigan. It wasn't because of TUM. It was because of all these names. It takes collaboration. It's not one person who finds the success. It's when you work with others to create success together to meet a global problem. And that's why you are here. So I want to welcome you all to get excited, to become energized, because this week is supposed to change your life. This week is meant to take you to the next level. So I want you to carry that energy and bring that energy with you as you meet everyone throughout the week. Thank you so much, and thank you all for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for that. So at this point, I'm going to invite Mr. Frank Mirobo, who is the representative, who is going to be representing the Executive Secretary of WIOMSA, which is the Western Indian Ocean Marine Science Association. Kindly, Mr. Frank Mirobo, if you're in here, kindly let us give him a clap.
My name is Frank Mirobo. I work at the Western Indian Ocean under the ECOPS network. So itoshe tu kusema all the protocols observed. So from the WIOMSA side, the Western Indian Ocean Marine Association is looking forward to keep on supporting this kind of initiatives. And we are committed to really bring that changes we all want to see to our early career ocean professionals, but also the mid-careers. So just to sum up, WIOMSA is looking forward to continue supporting this school, but also really to bring those changes into the regional wise. So let us hope as we are heading forward, we are looking forward to commit, but also for those ones who are looking forward to attend the symposium, which is going to be taking place next week. Make sure you also connect. You will meet a lot of people there, but also make sure you bring something back home, back to your communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So at this point, I'd like to ask if the representative for the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO is around. Is there a representative? Clap for him as he comes, kindly.
Thank you very much. In the interest of time, I'll also acknowledge the protocols that have been observed. My name is Gabriel Akoko Juma. I'm representing ECOP, but we work closely with the IOC UNESCO in the different programs that we do within the Ocean Decade. So I would define our, as mentioned by the earlier speakers, the activity we are having here as a capacity exchange, in that within the UN Ocean Decade, we have got the Ocean Decade Challenge 9, that works more on skills, knowledge, technology, and participation for all. And we aim to ensure that the skills that different partners within the ocean have, we share them for sustainable oceans. Now, within the IOC UNESCO, we have got the Ocean Teacher Global Academy, who are our partners here for this activity, and who are supporting a lot of scientific components of the training, and also the capacity development facility. So these are some of the programs that have been initiated within the UN Ocean Decade to support the capacity development or capacity exchange activities that we shall be having. Within the ECO program, we also have the Blue Card project, for which some of you have participated in or have participated in some of the past training activities that we've had. Last year, we had a training in Malta. This year, we are joining the team here in Kenya. And next year, we are having other training activities in Belgium, just before the World Maritime Biodiversity Conference in Bruges. So we come together, as Janai mentioned, let's connect. It's not really capacity building, but capacity exchange. And even when we go out to communities, they already do have indigenous knowledge that is also important, maybe not well choreographed into scientific papers like we do, the scientists, but we can also learn from them, and we're also going to be learning from you, our participants. And that's why I'm talking more of capacity exchange. Finally, I also supported in the application process. We really appreciate you for applying. Sometimes it can be disappointing when we make a call and people don't apply. So we really thank you for finding it worth to apply for this. We targeted 75 participants, and to give you just some demographics, we received 812 applications. So that was really encouraging. At the same time, we targeted the Wio region, and as it has been defined, the Wio region are these countries that subscribe to the WIOMSA in the West Indian Ocean region, that is having 10 countries, but the applications that we got were from over 40 countries. So as far as Sri Lanka, Vietnam, UK, Togo, everywhere. So the projects that we designed within those project tracks are deemed useful and important for the development of ocean science. With that, I would want to wish us a great week, a successful one, and let's already think about what is next after this training. Thank you.
All right, so in life is a journey of learning and relearning. And in the spirit of this journey, at this point, in the spirit of collaboration, discovery and knowledge, we are going to have a presentation from Professor Brian. Professor Brian? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I control the... Start now. Okay. Okay, thanks everyone. So like many of the speakers, I'll ride on the protocols, as they say. I do have some detailed thanks at the end. So this school here, Coast WIO, Coastal Ocean Environment School in the Western Indian Ocean, it's an extension of a school that we've been running in Ghana and Nigeria for 10 years. Okay, so we've been running it every year for 10 years. And the one in Ghana is called COSING, Ghana and Nigeria, sorry. COSING stands for Coastal Ocean Environment Summer School in Nigeria and Ghana. So we first started it in Ghana, and the IN was for in and the G was for Ghana. Then when we added Nigeria, the I was for in and the N was for Nigeria, so it still worked. Yeah. So we held the 10th anniversary of that school just a month ago, and so I wanted to give a history of that school here, because what we're doing here in Kenya or East Africa is to try to do the same kind of thing but in a different region of Africa. So here's a brief history of the school in West Africa. So again, we've been doing it for 10 years. We have a lot of group photos like this. We need to take some group photos like this here as well. This one happens to be from 2018. So a little bit of history. So how I personally got interested in doing this kind of thing. So it's a little bit personal, some stuff, but how we as a group, and here I'm talking about West Africa, got here. Okay, so my parents met in Nigeria. So there's a town in Nigeria called Jos. So the Nigerians, of course, really enjoy hearing this. So this is my father right there. He's still alive. He's 85 now. Here is him teaching 60 years ago in Nigeria. My mother worked for an extremely famous religious scholar from the Netherlands. And so this is my father here and my mother. and they were introduced by a mutual friend, Peggy, who is a Peace Corps volunteer. So the Peace Corps is something that was dreamed up during the administration of John F. Kennedy 60 years ago, 65 years ago. And in fact, Kennedy first announced the idea of the Peace Corps on the steps of the student union at the University of Michigan. And he said, how many of you young people would like to go abroad? So hopefully some of you have heard of Peace Corps. It still exists. It sends Americans to other countries abroad. They works here in Kenya, for instance, and also Tanzania. I joined the Peace Corps after I graduated from the University of Michigan. So right now I'm a professor at Michigan. I also was a student there. And after I finished my studies, I joined the Peace Corps. So unfortunately, I have to sort of skip around in time a little bit. Because Kennedy announced the idea at the University of Michigan, 50 years after that, in 2011, the Peace Corps held a celebration at the University of Michigan, and that celebration will be important later on in this talk. But skipping back to 1988, so after I graduated, I was assigned to teach secondary school math and physics in northern Ghana in a town called Damongo. So this is a map of Ghana, and you'll notice that Damongo up here is not on the ocean. So I was teaching physics and math in northern Ghana. Northern Ghana is quite remote. Most people from southern Ghana don't go to northern Ghana. Even today, you can talk to them and you ask them, have you ever been to northern Ghana? Usually the answer is no. So it's far away from southern Ghana. And back then, when I was in Damongo, there was no paved roads, no running water, and no electricity at the school. And since I was teaching physics, that means that I had to teach electricity in a school that did not have electricity. Okay, it's important to keep in mind as we go on. Okay, so I taught a lot of students in Damongo, but some of the students I got to know really well were the ones that took science. So this is the Form 5 science class in Damongo Secondary School. One thing to note is that the science class had no girls in it back then. So I've visited since then, and now the school, half of the students are girls and half of the science students are girls. So that has changed. But back then, the science students were all males. About a quarter of the students are women, but not many science students. So one of the students, Joseph Ansong, he's very important for this story. You'll hear more about him. And also Adam Mutu Akilu and Seidu Jeremiah. Okay, so for those of you that are a lot younger than me, which is most of you, you may not realize that back in 1988, there was no WhatsApp and no smartphones, all those things. So if you wanted to stay in touch with people, you had to take a pen and write something on paper and put it in the post office, yeah. So it was a lot more effort. So I marched through my life and ended up getting the faculty position, but I lost touch with all these Ghanaian friends that I had. But meanwhile, I still gave talks on my Peace Corps experience, and I had this idea that I wanted to help create a sort of Peace Corps for science. So instead of a secondary level, more like a university research level, a higher level, and that, to sort of help build a global community so that African scientists could meet more people from the global north and vice versa, But I had to get to a position to do that. But then in 2008, some of the people in this picture found me on the internet and they wrote to me, and how are you doing? At that time I was in Texas. And I found out that Joseph Ansong, so after 16 years of no contact, I found out that he was getting a PhD in Canada, which is next to the United States, with someone that I know very well, studying basically the same topic as me. So that was just an amazing coincidence. After 16 years, no contact, oh wow, you're working with Bruce. So sorry it's a bit small here, but this is the email exchange that I had with Joseph after 16 years of zero contact. And then I brought him to visit Michigan. This is my house. The reason I brought him at this particular time is because the Peace Corps was celebrating its anniversary that I mentioned earlier. So I kind of at the anniversary said, oh look, here's someone that I taught a long time ago. So then my partner, Jennifer Ross, she said, you know, why don't you hire him into your lab? Which I probably would have done anyway, because he's very smart, but definitely her, you know, nudge helped. So I hired him into my lab. He was there for several years, and the University of Michigan liked the story so much, this reunion, that they wrote some press articles about it. So here's a picture of Joseph from Ghana in my group, along with other group members, including one Paige Martin, who has done a lot of work on our West Africa school. Okay, so the first school that we held in Ghana in 2015 was very small. It had only lectures and discussions, and it was held at a place called Regional Maritime University, where they train people for maritime careers, ships and ports and something like that. So there's only 4 people that have been at every single school we've held in Ghana. Myself, of course, Joseph Ansang, whom I mentioned, Ebenezer Nyadro, who's actually here. There he is. So there's Ebenezer. This is Ebenezer lecturing 10 years ago. Looks about the same. Wearing a different shirt today. And then also Wynne Johnson was an instructor. She's been at most of our things. But another person I want to mention is Richmond Kennedy Akwarko, who's there. So Richmond, 10 years ago, was training to work in ships, which he did do. But he's actually participated in all of our schools, and he's now one of the leading advocates in West Africa for cleaning up plastic in the oceans. Our very first summer school, I remember Richmond looked at me and said, I want to clean up plastic in the oceans. And I was very, I didn't really know what to say because I don't study that topic, but he's done extremely well. Yeah. Okay, so from 2016 to 2019, we also held schools in Ghana, and they alternated between University of Ghana and Regional Maritime University. We had about 100 African participants per year. So it was in Ghana at that time, but here's what happens in West Africa. If you hold something in Ghana that people like, even if it's in Ghana, after a while, most of the participants will be from Nigeria. And the reason is, Nigeria has 230 million people. Did you know that? If you look it up, the next biggest country in Africa, Ethiopia, has less than half as many people as Nigeria. Nigeria is really huge. So there they were. Okay, we had about 15 US and European participants per year, and a lot of those people had never been to Africa before, and now they're taking African students into their labs. We started doing more things, so we had field trips and lab exercises, and people gave presentations. Okay, so then we had the pandemic, so for a couple years we had to do virtual presentations, virtual schools, and we started getting people from Kenya coming to that. I think that helped plant the seed for coming here, that people from Kenya were coming to our online school in Ghana. We even had people from Asia coming as well. Okay, then in 2022, we actually decided to go to Nigeria. Again, it's the most populous country in Africa. It's a very important place to work, to have an impact in Africa. Here's some pictures from that first school. It was co-hosted by these institutions. Do you know that there are some projections that the most populated city in the world in about 30 years is going to be Lagos, Nigeria. And it sits on a lagoon, an estuary. So oceanography is very important to that, just as it is here as well. Okay, 2023 was the first school we held in Ghana since the pandemic. And we decided to change to an emphasis on hands-on research projects in these 4 subject areas: fisheries, plastics, biogeochemistry, and physical oceanography. There's Ebenezer, who's sitting over there. these are some of the other field projects. And I'll also just mention that I love these kind of things. So one of our Nigerian participants, Lydia Bosedi, is very passionate about fisheries, and she's also very passionate about graphic design. Kind of two interesting, things. And so she designed this logo here. So COSING, Coastal Ocean Environment, Summer School in Nigeria and Ghana. And we have a new proposed logo for Coast Wyo, which looks similar to this, except it says Coast Wyo, obviously. 2024, we went back to Nigeria. We had another hosting institution, continued to do hands-on projects. One thing I want to mention of personal interest to myself, there's a $1 billion satellite mission in space. It's NASA and the French and also the British and Canadians played a little bit of a role. And it's measuring sea surface heights at extremely high resolution. It's called surface water ocean topography. In fact, we're going to have a meeting for that mission in a few weeks in France, and I'll be going to that. It's measuring water heights not only over the ocean, but also over land. So it's measuring rivers and lakes, can be used for water management. So now ask yourselves, where do rivers meet the ocean? And the answer is estuaries. So here is a group of Nigerians in 2024. They're in the Niger Delta, which is one of the world's largest deltas, right here. And they put some instruments in the water, right in the water, to try to ground truth this satellite. If we can make this work, it'll be one of the first places where we have ground truth measurements in deltas to look, to corroborate with stuff in space. Okay, so this was our first time trying it. They went back and the instruments were gone. Okay. It's a fast-flowing river. The Niger Delta also has huge security problems. I won't get into that. It didn't work. That's science sometimes. Okay, so 2025, we just had this school back in University of Ghana for our 10th anniversary. So one of the things that was kind of special to me is that the Ghana local organizers said, this comes from the experience I had 30 years ago. So all of these gentlemen here came to the school. They are all people that I taught more than 30 years ago. They came to the anniversary. And some of them are in this picture. So go back here. So Mutu Akilu was there at our 10th anniversary. Jeremiah was there. He's much more prosperous now than he was then. And Joseph Ansang, as he's been in the school every year. So these people are all on the stage along with a couple others. And Jeremiah gave me an ostrich egg. That's an ostrich egg right there. If you've ever held an ostrich egg, it weighs like a stone. It's really, really huge. Okay, and this guy here, Mutu Akilu, he's now the CEO of Ghana Water. So he's in charge of water for the entire country of Ghana. And he was a student. That's why I wanted to mention that, we formed this connection in a town, a small town that had no paved roads, electricity, or running water. Now he's the CEO of Ghana Water. Okay, and we continue to have an emphasis on hands-on research projects, as you can see here. Now, one thing I'll mention a little bit more later is that for the Ghana School, we now have funding from a private foundation, and they're funding something called the Ocean Margins Initiative. It's a $9 million US project. It's quite a lot of money. With that kind of money, you can actually do things like go out on big ships and deploy instruments in the water. That's what they're doing right here. So this ship here is a Ghana Navy ship. They're out on the Ghana Navy ship with expensive equipment from the US and deploying it. That takes a lot of money to do things like that, but we have that kind of money now for this Ocean Margins Initiative track. Now, once again, we tried to ground truth SWOT in these places, so in a few months we'll find out if this time in Ghana, maybe the instruments will actually still be there, unlike last year. Okay, so next year we're planning to go back to Nigeria, to a town called Calabar, Niger Delta. And part of the attraction is that the local organizers say it's the most relaxed city in Nigeria, that they like to say in Nigeria that this stands for come and be and live and rest. That's what Calabar stands for. You see that? Come and live and be at rest. Or relax. R can also be relax. So that we're going to try to deploy instruments in the Niger Delta again, using the better infrastructure of the ports and oil industries. So we've had about 1,000 in-person participant attendees over 10 years, 1,000 people. Now some of those people are the same person coming a few times. We just count that twice or 3 times. Similarly, we had 250 instructors, many virtual participants and instructors. Our email list has 1,700 people. So we have people around the world writing and saying, we want to make this announcement to Africans, please do it, and I always do it. We also have WhatsApp groups set up by the participants that even 3 or 4 years later, the 2022 group or 2023 group, they're using it to announce, oh, this person graduated, that person got a job, here's an opportunity, things like that. So we've really helped build a community. Our primary funding sources come from the US government, National Science Foundation and Navy, my own university. That's for the first several years. Also some smaller amounts from this organization in Italy and smaller sources in Ghana. And huge in-kind support, we call it, from our hosting institutions. Okay, but this year and the next 3 years will be funded by Schmidt Sciences, a very large project led by these people and many others involved, including myself. And the way this happened was we built up a community in Ghana with many schools. So then I was giving seminars on it, and then people became interested, and I introduced all the American scientists I know to the African scientists, and now there's $9 million. And the nice thing about it is that because it comes from a private foundation, there's no restrictions like the US government often has. So a big fraction of that $9 million is going directly to Ghana. So they're using it to build new labs, train students, ship time, all this great stuff. So we're attached to this project with a lot of money. That's what I'm saying there. Okay, we also are endorsed by the United Nations. And Edom Mahu, who's a Ghanaian that I worked with a lot in all this stuff. We co-chaired the UN Decade Working Group on Capacity Sharing and wrote a white paper, showed it in Barcelona in 2024. Dr. J also presented there on this stuff. Okay, so this year there's going to be 3 schools in Africa. So we already held the one in Ghana. And then a few weeks later, there was one in Francophone West Africa. So some French-speaking West Africans decided that, because of the language barrier, they wanted to have a school in the French-speaking countries. So that took place just a few weeks ago. And now we have this one. So 3 schools on ocean science in Africa this year. And this one here is number 3. All right, so really quickly at the end, I want to emphasize again, as has been said well by other speakers, a lot of my vision for this is building connections. Like we have lots of stories of connection there. Lots of stories of, people meeting scientists and, like Ebenezer, for instance, once showed a fisheries student that she could use satellite data to monitor temperatures, and then she used it in her thesis. We have hundreds of stories like that, like just people meeting each other, exchanging ideas. So for me, a lot of it is personal, and so after the 2025 school, again, I went and visited people that I knew from 30 years ago. So these are people that I taught with 30 years ago in northern Ghana. This is one of my former students who, again, is much more prosperous than he used to be. These were the people that were my neighbors, and they sent food over to my house, so I'm very thankful to them still for that. I don't know if you do this here in East Africa, but after colleagues die, people put up these banners, and you go to their house and visit their families. So some of my former colleagues have passed away recently. This is the house that I lived in 30 years ago. And, Americans, when you come to Africa, you can't help but tell stories like this. So there were vipers sometimes here. One time there was a spitting cobra here. There were scorpions, there were bats. And the thing that actually hurt me was African killer bees. So one time a swarm of African killer bees came to the front of the house and attacked me. And I was stung about 30 times on the head. And I turned around and ran back towards the school. And this guy was smart enough to put a towel on my head. And I never thanked him 30 years ago, but then he's now the bursar for the school.
And he said, "Do you remember when the bees stung you?" I said, "Yes, I definitely remember that." So I thanked him for that. So these are some of the,
This guy was another one of the students I taught. He's now the assistant headmaster of that school. And we went to this scenic area outside Damago. And then we visited the chief. So I don't know exactly how powerful traditional leaders are in this part of Africa, but in Ghana, they're written into the Constitution. So traditional rulers are extremely important. When presidents are elected, they visit the traditional leaders. So we visited the traditional leader of Damago. Told him the story of how what started in Damago has now grown into this big international thing. He was happy to hear that. And another thing that I'm almost done, of course, a lot of people I taught up there live in Accra, the capital city now. So these, just a few weeks ago, these are people I had not seen in 30 years. So this guy was the CEO of Ghana Water under the previous government. He was a teacher in Damago, and when his party lost power, the next guy was my student. So two CEOs of Ghana Water come from that little town that I taught in. This guy now works for an insurance company using the math that he said he learned from me. And then this person here is on the security detail for Ghana's president. So he's protecting the president. He's very high up in that. Okay, so here's the thanks I gave in West Africa just a month ago when we held this school. My partner Jennifer Ross and Joseph and Adam and Janae, who's there, and the organizing committees, instructors, and the Richmond and his media people. And now here's the, oops. So I had a slide on thanking the people here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, so here's my last slide. So I'm not as good at doing protocols as Africans, but here's my attempt. So I would like to thank the hosting institutions, Technical University of Mombasa, Pwani, and Kemfri. I'd like to thank the sponsors of this, the financial sponsors, United States National Science Foundation, IOC from UNESCO, ECOP, WIOMSA. I'd like to thank Janae, who does a huge amount of the organizing on the US side. We couldn't run these schools without her. All the members of the East Africa Organizing Committee, I won't name all the names, but they're all there. I know that they've worked extremely hard, and we should all thank them for that. And I'd like to thank all the instructors, participants, volunteers, and a support staff here. I'd like to thank Richmond, who I mentioned already, and his team for bringing their media skills from West Africa to here. But there's also media people here at TUM. So I'd really like to thank everyone, and I hope that this school will be as long-running and successful as the one in West Africa that will run for many years and get grants from sponsors to do a lot of science. Thank you.
Well, everything surely has a beginning, and that was the very beautiful history of the beginning of the Coastal Ocean Environmental School, and I'm pretty sure that we are very happy and honored to be the third school hosting this. So at this juncture, I'd like us to just kindly give a very hearty clap to Professor Brand for the beautiful presentation. Thank you so much for that. So we are going to proceed with our program. So right here in Mombasa, the ocean for us is not just about culture, it's a way of life, it's a resource. And in the same spirit, we are going to have two presentations right now. So the first presentation is going to be a poem, and after the poem, we are going to have a cultural dance that is going to be presented here. So I don't know if the people doing the poem, if you are ready, kindly come forward. As they get ready, so after our presentations here, the entertainments, we are going to have a group photo session. So the people in charge of that, kindly get ready and inform us where and how we are going to do it. The people presenting the poem, if you're ready, kindly. It seems they're not around, so I think we're going to begin. Oh, it is her. Oh, kindly, sorry. Welcome. Please give her a hearty welcome.
All protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Tracy Kajo Robert. I'm here to present to you a poem entitled Marine Life, Our Life. God had a vision among his creation, full of admiration for the world's completion. He blessed us with the ocean, then told us, go ye and enjoy the ablution. Ocean, harbor, and several resources, food and feeds in plenty, oxygen in infinity, serenity of beauty. But these need sustainability. Proper management shapes our predicament. Avoid overfishing notion. Protect the ocean from acidification, marine pollution, and eutrophication. For this marks our condemnation. Eutrophication is a demon, for algal bloom and other plants become common. Microorganisms grow their colons for oxygen depletion. Water surfaces intoxication, reducing the blue economy admiration. Let's avoid atmospheric deposition from roads and bad ship transportation. Let's avoid marine activities and poor aquaculture urbanization. We have to walk an extra mile, protect our agile if we want a smile. Marine life, our life. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that beautiful poem. So at this juncture, we have the cultural dance. So the people doing it, kindly let us clap for them as they come in to entertain us. A bit more, we encourage them. Yes, thank you.
Hello?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols observed. Welcome to Technical University of Mombasa. In front of you are staff from Technical University of Mombasa, hailing from the Mijikenda tribe. We are going to welcome you with a song and other traditional songs that have been passed down from generation to generation, probably older than your textbooks. So, our first song is called Tangirania Jenny. It is a call to the community to come and welcome visitors. So sit back, enjoy, and relax. If you feel like you're moving, the beat is moving you, kindly stand up and join us.